The first main topic that I encountered was a fun situation of Google, where I can kind of get behind the big tech companies kind of doing this stuff because it's very interesting. And it showed me some things that I didn't know you could actually do in the law, but apparently you can. Very interesting indeed. So in this, Google sues a cyber criminal group behind the EasyPass USPS text phishing scams under the RICO statutes. I was like, Google can RICO? Turns out, yes, you can RICO a person civilly. Very interesting. Did not know that was part of the RICO law, but civil provisions allow private individuals and businesses to seek damages for harm caused by racketeering activities. So I guess if Traffiton continues his coordinated campaign against me, I'll just RICO them all. Why not, right? Sounds kind of fun. But anyway, I can kind of get behind all of this approach here because in this instance here, what they're doing allegedly, and I'm like, well, how does this qualify for RICO? Well, because this is a giant Chinese hacking group over, obviously, in China, and they were using those EasyPass scams, the Postal Service scams, and even using Google services. It's the fact that they are using Google services against Google's terms of service, which is what is causing them to do this, which is very interesting indeed. So they were preying on users' trust in reputable brands such as EasyPass, U.S. Postal Service, and even us as Google, the general counsel at Google says. The Lighthouse Enterprise or software creates a bunch of templates in which you create fake websites to pull users' information. Texts usually contain malicious links to fake websites designed to steal victims' sensitive information, including social security numbers, bank credentials, and more. So the Alphabet-owned company said it had found more than 100 website templates generated by Lighthouse using Google's branding on sign-in screens to trick victims into thinking the sites were legitimate, and they found around 2,500 members of the syndicate corresponding with those on a public Telegram channel. So Google said that it was the first of these companies taking legal actions against SMS phishing scams, and additionally endorsing 3 bipartisan bills intended to protect fraud and cyber attacks. So we had some discussion about this last night, and people were like, well, yeah, but it's a bunch of Chinese people. Can they have anything? Don't forget, this is China. And if one of the biggest tech companies goes to Chinese government and says, hey, we have 2,500 people we're going to be suing for hacking activities in your country, I'm not even sure China is going to let Google take the case. We might just find 2,500 Chinese people disappear. It's like, you're going to cause problems for us? Oh, we can deal with that. Get in there with them Uyghurs or whatever we're doing with those guys over there, you know? And so this is actually brilliant. And I love this approach because it's one of those cases where big tech can use and wield its power in order to drive, in this case, good causes. Let's shut down a giant hacking group of 2,500 people by going after them with a massive corporation who unfortunately spies on everybody and knows exactly where and who everybody is. And then, of course, well, we're in China. We're outside of your jurisdiction. Except China, Google has a few trump cards to play against the Chinese government to say, if you would like to continue to use our services and have information we collect on your citizens, you're going to help us with these 2,500 people. And I have a sneaky suspicion a lot of these guys are going to be gulagged pretty quick. I don't know. So that's kind of the case here. But this is an instance where the large company does have those resources. It's one of the same things I talked about in the Christian perspective with the churches. By and large, I don't think mega churches are a good thing for Christians in general, but you cannot deny that mega churches have the resources to do some really, really good big projects. And this is not the first time that we saw big tech take on annoying psychopaths and win. Of course, we did report on these ones with Cloudflare. Cloudflare, somebody tries to come against Cloudflare as one of these copyright trolls, and Sable found out really, really quick that Cloudflare's got a whole lot more money than a bunch of Better Call Saul little slimy lawyers, because Cloudflare ended up going through and smashing them so bad in court, they literally gave up and gave all their patents to the public. They're like, we're done. We're out. We can't do this anymore. So Cloudflare did successfully do this. And it's because these guys were, if these guys go against small organizations, it's not those people are just kind of forced to settle. But a big company's like, no, we're going to sit here. And they also know that A, they have the capability of winning. B, they have the money to win. And C, if they do win, that company they're going against is going to have to pay for Cloudflare or Google's legal expenses. Good luck with that one. Talk about indentured servitude. Of course, we see the same thing going on. Was it last week or the week before? We talked about the uncouth film industry ended up suing Meta, and Meta's like, yeah, we're not settling. And I have a sneaky suspicion that we're probably going to see an end to, was that Crowd 3 or Strike 3? I think it was Strike 3 Holdings or whatever. I have a sneaky suspicion that Meta is going to crush Strike 3 Holdings. I have a sneaky suspicion that's the way that one's going to go. And so these are instances where we actually have a lot of really, really, really good uses of these big tech companies. So I really support this, and this might be the type of approach we need to do when we're talking about solving the scammer circumstance, because they keep doing the scams because it makes them money. Once they stop making money on that, they're going to stop doing that. And if it just turns out that you get snitched on to your crazy authoritarian government or you are gone after by one of the largest corporations in the world because you're engaging in slimy behavior, and you either disappear or end up having to pay millions and millions, if not billions of dollars, you're going to kind of stop. And so as we see all these scam emails, I think the one company I would love to see you go after these guys is Microsoft, because Microsoft's services are used in scams, I think, more than any other company. I have an Azure server in Ireland, which keeps on trying to mount attacks against one of my servers. All right, Microsoft, shut that crap off. You have the full capabilities of doing it. You can look down and go, oh, malicious activity, squish. But you don't. But here's the thing. If you did that and you utilize your services, it would cause a lot of forward grace in your community as people say, hey, at least Microsoft, for all the crazy they're doing, at least they're using their resources and stopping all these people that are scamming. But Google, of course, I like that Google's doing this, because more often than not, these scams that show up at the top of your search engines, they're using Google services. And I think everybody who uses a Google service to do any form of scamming, I think Google should just go after them pretty hard. Let's see what's going on. Obviously, good investigations. Is it a misunderstanding or is it a legit scam? If it's a legit scam, bury them. Just bury them legally, of course. And so I really do support this approach that Google is doing, suing them. And it'd be really cool if other organizations, anybody whose resources are being used to enable these scams, absolutely should be gone after by these big corporations. Because once it's no longer profitable to do this, that is the thing that makes the scams go away. So let me know what you think about that in the comments down below.